Right, 28 November 2024. And as usual, I'm going to be giving a daily update on all the trending news in Zimbabwe. And this is a very important update. You can make money from what I'm going to tell you here. Almost on a daily basis. I bring information that can make you money if you listen very carefully. And today I do have one of those. So let's start with what has happened where we are all looking, which is we are looking now at Namibia. There has been chaos and pandemonium in Namibia, where Swapo is busy rigging the elections. And currently, what they've done is that they have ran out of ballot papers. Hundreds of people in cities at polling stations have failed to vote. And this is because the same company that was printing ballot papers in Zimbabwe is also printing ballot papers over there in Namibia. So there's been a massive shortage of ballot papers. People spent the whole day in queues, and a lot of people ended up failing to vote by the time the election closed last night. So this is crazy, but what do you expect? ZANU-PF is over there rigging the election on behalf of Swapo. And you can see here that Nelson Chamisa and Hwende are on different sides. So Hwende, who is based in Namibia, is backing Swapo and says Swapo win the elections, which I think, based on what has happened with the ballot papers, it would be a miracle if the opposition was to win the election. Now let's look at other important developments of the day. And one of the most important developments of the day has been the discovery of massive amounts of gold around Bulawayo. So you know that over the past few months, lots of gold has been discovered around the Matabeleland region. This is becoming more frequent. And yesterday, Phambili Resources, which is a Canadian listed company, has announced the discovery of a large amount of new gold in Bulawayo. So this is very important. If you are around Bulawayo, do not just sit because there's gold in the ground. So I don't know what people around Bulawayo are going to do, but we talked about Bubi, and now we're talking about the new gold that has been discovered by Phambili Resources, Phambili Natural Resources. And this is a new gold vein that is there in Bulawayo that they're going to start mining this year. They've already started reinforcing the old mine or the old shaft. And they say the amount of gold is so much that it's going to change the results of the company. So very important. And I think people around Bulawayo should seriously think about how to get into this gold mining business. Then I now want to go to my top story. General Chiwenga has secured the support of the military as the next president of Zimbabwe, the next president of ZANU-PF. Chiwenga is the vice president of ZANU-PF and the vice president of the country. And over this past weekend, Mnangagwa gathered people in his farm, at the Precab Farm, and attempted to revive the ED 2030. However, the military did not want anything to do with that process. They warned Mnangagwa that this is not acceptable. So what you must understand and what is going on is that Chiwenga is firmly the candidate for ZANU-PF and the next president of Zimbabwe if things go the way that the army wants. And most times the army plans between 5 to 30 years. That is the planning of the military. They plan how things are going to move way before most people do. So the army does not behave like a normal person or a company. The army has a plan for a number of scenarios. So scenario 1, what happens if Mnangagwa dies? Scenario 2, what happens if Mnangagwa leaves? Scenario 3, what happens if Chiwenga dies? Scenario 4, what happens if Chiwenga leaves? They have all the scenarios for you. So the army is not like an emotional person. They've got a huge number of teams looking at internal and external security. And they monitor the situation. They know everything. The army intelligence know right now what Chiwenga is doing. They know what Mnangagwa is doing. The army never looks at a person. They look at what can happen and how it can affect security. And what Mnangagwa was doing with ED 2030 was affecting national security. And it was weakening institutions. So the army has a plan for it. But when I say the army, who exactly is the army? It is the guys at the top. Those are the army. But there is a lower level that I've always been talking about here. So the incoming level that wants to professionalize the army, they are also there. So there are many competing factions within the army that are thinking about where things can go. And this is where the difficulty is. The guys that you see at the top in the army are also under pressure from the lower levels of the army. This is why Chiwenga has the support at the moment of all the factions of the army. He's the only person with all the support of all the factions of the army, because he's seen as someone that is not easily influenced by corrupt business people. The problem with Mnangagwa is the people surrounding Mnangagwa are very corrupt. People like Brigton Chipunza, very corrupt people. And people like Chipunza, who is the Minister of Defense, very corrupt person. He is very corrupt and not suitable to become a president. That is why you see that Chiwenga has received the support of the army. And why am I saying this? Am I just like taking it out of my head? No. So what has happened is, overnight, there has been a statement that has been issued by Mnangagwa spokesman. And he says it's not true that Mnangagwa is using parallel structures. And it's not true that that meeting that was held at Precab Farm was to revive the ED 2030. So ED 2030 is dead. It's not going to revive. It's not going to happen. Mnangagwa is not going to be there after 2028. But the process of transition has started. And within the next 4 weeks, that is when you're going to see the process of transition starting. By 27 December, I'm going to sit here and I will remind you that I said the process of transition has started. Mnangagwa no longer has any plans that are going to materialize. Everything that Mnangagwa has started has failed. And now there is a need to move to the new level or to a new program. And that new program is going to start by the 27th of December, according to my estimation. I've estimated that the government of Mnangagwa is going to totally collapse by the end of December. There will be no Mnangagwa government. Currently, they're not able to pay salaries, and they're just hanging there by a thread. Mnangagwa's government is just hanging there by a thread. And nothing's working. Mnangagwa's government is not functional. It's a mess, basically. That's what I have to say here. So, to simplify it, Mnangagwa has lost the support of the military. However, the military is also backing Chiwenga. What is Chiwenga's next move? That is what we want to see. Is Chiwenga able to step up and put himself in that position? And as I said, Chiwenga can never president coming out from the vice presidency. He has to remove himself from under Mnangagwa, then he becomes the president of Zimbabwe. So a lot is going to happen within the next 4 weeks. And watch out for those events that are going to happen. The statement from, I think the guy who gave the statement, let's see who gave the statement. I don't really think it matters who did it. So the office of the president and cabinet has expressed concern over a story published by Newsday, which claimed that President Mnangagwa was using parallel structures. So Deputy Chief Secretary, Presidential Communications, Joy Charamba, said the article falsely and maliciously creates the impression that President Mnangagwa is hell-bent on breaching national constitution by extending his term. So you can clearly see that there will be no official activity to extend the term. There will be no constitutional amendment, and Mnangagwa is going to go, and Mnangagwa started to go. because the army does not plan the day you go. The army guys are already planning right now as you speak. This is 2025 already. We're already 2025. So in 2 years' time, the army must know already what is going to happen. And they must already have a list of candidates to say, Chiwenga, Chamisa, whoever wants to be a president, they have got him on that list. They have a plan for each person. But currently, Chiwenga is the guy that has got the support of the army. It's only up to him to start building his team. So if Chiwenga fails to build a team, then there's a problem. But right now, Chiwenga must be behind the scenes building his team and making sure that he creates a new approach, because Mnangagwa is going due to the failure of his policies. Mnangagwa's policies have failed. That is the problem. Mnangagwa had an expansionary policy, trying to go into SADC, trying to influence other countries, Mozambique, Botswana, South Africa, Namibia, Zambia. That is Mnangagwa. And Mnangagwa has failed at war. It's a terrible thing that has happened in Zimbabwe. So let's see what Chiwenga is going to do. Chiwenga seems to me to be a more focused person on Zimbabwe and also able to complete his project. The person who's going to take over from Mnangagwa is going to have a headache. Mnangagwa has finished nothing. All the projects that started are not finished, and Mnangagwa has destroyed the currency. So you have to start again from scratch. Mnangagwa has not only destroyed the currency, but has done it twice. So it has been destroyed 2 times. Right, I think I've covered that. Let me quickly go through 1 or 2 stories. Military stories are the most favorite stories here on Zimbabwe. Guys love it when we talk about military. We get our most views. Then, let's start with a Zimbabwean woman, Precious Moyo. She's been jailed in Ireland for 7 years for stealing from elderly people. So, mother of 3, Precious Moyo, was stealing money at the homes where she was a carer. And the largest amount she stole from one home is £24,000. So she's been jailed with a friend here on the right. He was sentenced to 6 years and he was sentenced to 7 years. She says that she started stealing because she was being abused when she was young, when her father died when she was 18. And she owed drugs, money for drugs. So there was money that she owed to drug dealers. And these drug dealers were after her. That is why she went for the drug dealing and stealing and all that, which was very sad. And then in South Africa, Shashi Naidoo, she is a popular model. She has lost millions after someone stole a phone and started to withdraw large sums of money from a bank account. This happened in Sandton. And when they stole the phone, they then went on to withdraw money from a bond, a new house that she sold worth millions, and also from what is called an access bank account. So Shashi Naidoo immediately flew to Dubai to try to solve the situation, according to a story that is circulating. And unfortunately, she was not able to solve it. Absa Bank is going to give her back the money which was stolen, which is odd to me because this was almost all her fault, because she didn't notify the bank and she didn't stop a line. But FNB Bank is not going to give her any money. They're refusing to give her back the money because they're saying it's not their fault. It's their fault. So crazy stuff. If you're in South Africa, don't get your phone stolen. You lose a lot of money. Then in Bulawayo, Flamboyant car dealer, there on the screen, he is Brigton Chipunza. He stole a car in Bulawayo at a car wash. And the car belonged to Silibaziso Ncube. He then took the car to Harare, and this car was registered in South Africa. He's currently in custody after being arrested by a vehicle theft squad through a tracking device. And the car was found in the possession of someone called Julius Chitunhu over there in Harare, where they were already selling the car. So the car was already for sale. in Harare, and it is suspected that there's a car syndicate operating in Harare that steals high-end cars and sells them. However, I don't know if they failed to remove the tracker or this car has a backup tracker. So in South Africa, what they're doing now, they're having 2 trackers on one car. I get a lot of calls from tracking companies saying, Zimbabwe, do you want to have a second car tracker on your car? And I always tell them, no, I don't want it. But now I'm going to think twice about this whole situation. Then my final story is in South Africa. So almost 400,000 people have been discovered who did not have a meter, an electrical meter. So you know that Eskom has changed their electricity approach. They've got a new meter now. They have discovered 400,000 people who didn't have a meter, and these people were not paying for electricity. So these people were discovered after a new metering system was put in place. But in Zimbabwe, you know, with ZESA, almost no one is paying electricity with anyone. It's only the poor people who pay for electricity. It's crazy what happens in Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe, only the poor people pay for electricity. Here, there are syndicates that can give you a code that works, and you get to pay for electricity if you have electricity, but you haven't even paid. And that happens a lot because of the system breaches. So I would like to thank all of you for watching, and I'll see you again in the evening when we give you updates on our Victoria Falls project for homecoming. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And